Are you going to endorse anyone for your post? Or?
Well, I don't know that you come out and necessarily endorse. I think the public needs to make up their mind, who they're going to vote for. And I have somebody that I think will do an excellent job, that has done an excellent job in the Mississippi State Senate. His agricultural chairman has been very supportive of agriculture, needs of agriculture, been very helpful to us on our budget. And matter of fact, I think just last month y'all did a feature article on this particular candidate, and I think she would do an excellent job as Commissioner of Agriculture.
That sounds like an endorsement. What about eminent domain? That was a big issue last year. What's going on with that, and what are your views there? I mean,
well, I think you have to be very careful, and when you say eminent domain, that you don't just put everything in the same box. For about 20 years, I was a mayor at Richland where we first got incorporated. And anybody who deals in county, state, city government will tell you that it's absolutely essential to have eminent domain for certain type projects. Water, sewer, streets, utilities, those things. You really have to do it for the good of the public. And most people understand that. I think the fear is taking somebody's property and using it for an economic enhancement for a particular small group that really worries people. That's one of the things that we hold very dear to us is our ownership of land. And so I think while there are certain situations in economic development when you have those once in a lifetime opportunities, so to speak, for a tremendous industry to come in, the state certainly wants to do everything it can to capitalize on it. It provides jobs, it brings tremendous income. It helps us all the way around, from our local school system, the tax base. But I think we need still to be cognizant of the fact that we've got to protect people's rights. And so I think there have to be certain stipulations in there. And of course, that's going to be coming up on the ballot. And I think people should educate themselves very, very thoroughly on all the specifics of eminent domain. So you can find people who are absolutely against all eminent domain. I don't think that's the right answer. I think you've got to have something that's workable, but yet gives protection to the landowner.
I did kind of want to give you an opportunity to tell any political stories that you want to tell, just based on your whole career. Like, for example, do you have a favorite Mississippi politician, someone that you've known, or
Well, two things kind of jump out in my mind. One particular instance with Governor Fordyce, and we were working on a piece of legislation regarding some dairymen in the state of Mississippi to help the dairy industry, which has really struggled through economic times. And Dr. Bill Herndon, who was with Dairy Science Department at Mississippi State, he and I went to visit Governor Fordyce when this bill was on his desk. And it had passed the House overwhelming and the Senate overwhelming. And the day before we went up there, Steve, there was a whole page ad in the Clan Ledger about don't sign this bill, blah, 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 blah. And Governor Fordyce asked me, he said, Les, did you see that ad in the Clan Ledger yesterday about me signing this bill? I said, yes, sir. He said, and you expect me to sign it? I said, Governor Fordyce, I said, since when do you care what the Clan Ledger says? He said, I don't. I'm going to sign it. He picked it up and signed it right there. that was a kind of a surprising moment. But I guess the one person in politics that I've always seen is the kind of person who projected the image of integrity and leadership and strong moral and Christian traits was a man that I knew as a youngster growing up. His name was Dr. W.F. Bond. He was from Jackson. He was orphaned when he was about 4 years old, raised from foster family, and graduated from what was then Peabody Teachers College up in Nashville. Came back, taught school, and through the years he advanced in his career. He was state superintendent of education, and the state had an old folks pension fund that he was selected to head. And his home was right across from the Capitol up there on High Street for many years. And I knew him through my grandfather. They were both great outdoorsmen, loved to hunt together, and my grandfather had served in the legislature and knew Dr. Bond. And he was a prince of a storyteller and had a lot of good political stories, but In a book he wrote, the name of his book was I Had a Friend, and he talked about friendships and helping people through life. And he said something that I've kind of adopted as my philosophy in political life. He said, the greatest pleasures I've ever had in life is a privilege to help someone who really needs help when nobody else can help them or will help them, and to do it unselfishly. And that's what I've tried to do, and it's been a real pleasure. God has blessed me in my life, and I am so thankful. My family and I have had so many opportunities. When I graduated out of vet school, I went in the Army for 2 years. I was a captain, came back, went into private practice in 1970, and then I got married in 79. A beautiful, wonderful wife. And Sandra and I had 2 children, Jason and Katie, and she passed away in September of '03. And that was the greatest loss and greatest tragedy over these past 16 years that occurred. But almost 2 years ago now, I remarried to a fine lady, a good Christian lady, a wonderful wife, and mother of her own 2 children. And it's been a real joy.
Finally, what's next for you? Are you just going to go fishing now, or what?
Well, you know, I love to hunt and fish, and a lot of people say, you're going back in veterinary practice. I tell them, well, 2 good things about veterinary practice is the anatomy never changes, so in the last 16 years it hadn't changed. The physiology of an animal hadn't changed in 16 years, but techniques and drugs have changed a lot. No, I doubt that I would get back engaged full-time in practice, and we owned a place, and we do forestry management and wildlife management on it, and I think that that's probably where I'll spend a great deal of my